Peter, congrats on the film. I was just curious, like, how is the feelings of seeing this released out into the world, all these new fans come to it, and it very much be based on your book, but also, it was done by other artists despite you, being involved in the process. How is that just that seems like a weird place for a creator to be.
It is a little weird. I'll be honest with you. It's a little weird. Uh, but the Wild Robot book was published in 2016, and so that's 8 years ago. And for 8 years, it's been kind of my baby, and there's a few other books in the series. And so now all of a sudden there's the Wild Robot movie, and there's a whole new audience, and the characters look a little different, and the story's a little different. So it's certainly a little strange, but it's also really exciting because I love animation, and I'm just so excited that Chris Sanders, the director, and the whole team at DreamWorks used my book as the inspiration to make such a beautiful movie, beautiful story, and beautiful visually. I think we've all kind of gotten used to seeing animated films that look quite similar to each other, and this movie doesn't. This movie has its own distinct look. The backgrounds are gorgeously painted, the characters are interesting. Like, I'm just thrilled that they ended up doing something pretty special as a result of my book.
Yeah, and like we've seen subpar adaptations, and they nailed it out of the park for this one.
Yeah.
And when they were sending you like during production, just the looks at it, when did it sink in that this was going to be something pretty special because it just looks phenomenal and it's so heart-wrenching.
Well, it was, it takes years to make an animated film. So I've been talking with Chris and Jeff Herman, the producer, since like 2020, I believe, is when we first started these conversations. Um, and so I got to see this whole evolution of the look as they were ironing out the character designs and the look of the backgrounds and everything. It was a real process, and there was a lot of trial and error and experimentation. Um, but I knew pretty early on that it was going to be special because Chris was really determined. He said so from the outset that he wanted the movie to feel more illustrative than other movies, and he was really focused on finding a way to make it feel like painterly. And the way he talked about it, I could tell he meant business, and so I was excited. I was excited to see what it turned into. As a real lover of animation, I've honestly been kind of disappointed with a lot of animation because it all looks so similar and it's such a flexible medium. You can do anything with it, right? And so why do so many movies look the same? And I was so happy to hear what Chris had planned, and then to see the finished result really kind of blew me away. I didn't see the finished movie until I sat down at the world premiere of the movie at the Toronto International Film Festival. Um, and I was practically in tears throughout the movie because it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, no, practically for me. I was fully in tears during the
Yeah,
film.
cool.
And how has it been just seeing the movie with crowds, be it like TIFF or in other screenings? Because I saw so many grown adults just bawling at this. It seems
Yeah.
to be impacting them even more than the kids.
Absolutely. Well, that's actually one of the things that I'm happiest about with the film is, in the book, I worked really hard to create a story that was age appropriate for young readers, but that had kind of something for everyone, had a level of depth and emotion that might not be so common in books for that age group, books that would maybe maybe make parents who might be reading my book to their kids, maybe make the parents feel these strong emotions. That was it's a big part of the books. Um, and I was so happy that with the movie they kept that kind of emotionality. It would have been so easy to turn it into another kind of just nonstop gags for an hour and a half. And there's plenty of jokes in the Wild Robot movie, but there's so much heart in it. And every screening I've been to, I just hear people sniffling and crying, throughout much of the movie, and that makes me personally really happy. Just to make a movie and a book that makes people feel surprising emotions that maybe they weren't expecting to feel, to really kind of connect with their own humanity while they're watching this movie or reading this book. That's really incredibly satisfying for me.
Yeah, it's so special, and I wanted to ask you about the ending change because it's a bit different than the book, but it's to see them reunite, it's kind of like a warm hug for the audience. Did you like how they handled that?
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about this because I know Chris and Jeff, the producer and director, they really appreciated the ending of the book. It's a little bit of a cliffhanger. It's a little bit sad. It's kind of unfamiliar. We're used to everything being wrapped up in a nice, tidy, happy ending. And so they were trying to walk this line of creating a little bit of that experience, but not having people walk out the door disappointed with the ending, right? Like they want to make sure people are feeling, they want people to feel good as they walk out of that theater, you know? And so I think they kind of nailed it, actually. The ending is a little mysterious. We get to see Roz and Bright Bill together, but we don't really know what the future holds for them. And so I think they got it just right, actually.
And then my last question for you, they're already talking about a sequel. Just how good is it that you actually have two books already out there, so it's not like a super weird situation where, it's just a whole cloth, totally different thing.
Yeah, well, there's actually three books, and who knows if all three or two, or who knows how many more movies will be made. It's not official just yet. We're hoping there will be at least a sequel. There's a second book called The Wild Robot Escapes, which I know Chris and Jeff have read and loved, um, and feel like it's actually kind of the two first books in the series really are one big story, and so I think they're really hoping to get the green light to make that happen. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that there will be a sequel, and I know a lot of us are hoping that'll happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And The Wild Robot Protects is also on bookshelves, so fans can check that out. So thank you.
Thank you. This has been fun.